What is happening out there, Roto Scouts baseball fans? Welcome to a Monday show, gang. Here to talk a little baseball as everybody's still focused on football. Going to get through this one lickety-split because we're going to try and knock out a football lineup building show for the single gamer in a little later on, probably 5:30, but it'll probably be 6. I'd love to get us up and out of here in an hour and talk about this nice little 8-game baseball slate. Kind of a shame. Prize pools are small. Nobody's really focused on it, but this is a good-looking little slate. Good amount of pitching to work with. Some pretty obvious hitting spots popping out a little bit. Seems like a fun one to talk through. Matt Pats here. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Lone Wolf. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys' weeks are off to good starts. Hopefully the football weekend went well for you. I know we hit on a couple cashing lineups, at least on last Friday's lineup builder show for that single gamer. I think the night before as well. Built a really good FanDuel one somewhere along the way during that show. And we had mixed bag of success, I would say, over the weekend as far as Sunday. Ugly Sunday afternoon of football. Every single game except for the lowest on the board, that Jets and Steelers game. Every other game hit the unders. Ugly day. I feel like that's one where if we reran that exact slate, that exact set of games in 3 weeks, like week 4, if that was the same exact setup, everything would have gone more to plan in that one, you know? Just a little bit unpolished, a little bit of ugly football going on. But some interesting things. We had a bunch of random guy touchdowns. It was a interesting day, and then more than made up for it, I thought, with that nightcap. Ravens-Bills was a pretty good one. But anyway, we'll dive into the football slate a little bit later on. Again, come back around 5:30, 6 o'clock. You'll see it pop up. I'm going to knock out a show for it. We'll see how long we take on talking through the people. And I know people like to do the lineup building portion of that. But right now, let's dive in on this baseball show. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as we get started. We do have some stuff to talk about. Cubbies and the Braves, 436, mid-4s implied total on both sides of that one. It showed Imanaga against Bryce Elder. Imanaga, the better of those two pitchers, but every now and again, Elder can break off a pretty good start. He's also on a run of 3 straight starts where he's gone 6 or 7 innings, pitched very well against the Mets, the Cubs, and the Phillies. So no reason to think that he couldn't have another good one here. And then Imanaga has gone deep into most of his starts throughout the season, good or bad. Hasn't been overly bad in too many spots, handful of runs here and there. Lower strikeout maybe in some spots, but a definitely talented pitcher that's got an easy enough matchup. That looks like a 4-cornersy spot, though, with both sides pulling 4-run totals. And I believe that was the one weather spot. Not bad weather situation, but wind blowing out type of a report. Oh, wind's blowing in, excuse me. From left to right at 10 miles an hour. So again, 4-cornersy spot there. The Brewers and the Rangers, mid-4s implied totals on both sides of that one. It's Jose Quintana. It's Jacob Latz. I think we can fire away with bets on either side of that. We're not really digging in too much on those pitchers, but we'll talk them through. Simeon Woods Richardson against Caden Dana, doubling up again with some bats here. 4.64 implied total for the Twins. They're looking pretty good, pulling a bunch of power against Dana. Would be nice if Byron Buxton was in the lineup. 4.97 implied total on the other side for the powerhouse Angels, going back the other way against Simeon Woods Richardson. I think we could definitely dig into that one for bats. Cards with Miles Michaelis, 4.53 implied total, 4.54 on the other side for the Mariners. We're looking to them for some bats against the soft tossing innings eater. Every now and again, Michaelis can come through with 6-7 innings of quality, but hasn't exceeded 6 innings all season long, so innings eater isn't even right. Actually, no, I'm sorry, once. 6 2/3 back on August 11th against Colorado. Doesn't really strike anybody out. Seems like a target for some Mariners bats. And then Brian Wu, the tremendous Brian Wu on the mound for the Mariners. Failed to pitch into the 6th. And in his last inning at all, in his last outing at all, went 5 2/3. The start before that was the first time all season long he did not complete the 6th. Maybe tiring a little bit, but it could be just a little bit more of management. Either way, his innings, whatever we're getting, pretty tremendous opportunity against the Cards at a 3.06 implied total. The Reds coming in 3.53 implied against Yu Darvish. lost it for a second there. They're countering with Nick Lodolo on the mound. The Pods are pulling a slightly higher implied total, but I think we can consider some pitching on both sides of that one. Darvish, couple short outings in his most recent starts, just 4 innings in each of those. Had gone 6 in a start against the Dodgers on the 22nd. 4 innings on either side of another 6-inning start. So in 4 of his 6 starts back, there's 4 of his 6 starts since the beginning of August, rather. We've gotten 4 innings, and then the other 2 we've gotten 6. We'll see what the depth looks like. He peaked at 7 innings on July 30th against the Mets. Prior to that, had not gone more than 5. And then Lodolo, kind of an up and down year. Has been very, very good in some spots. Has been incredibly gettable in some other spots. Don't love it against the low strikeout Padres with them drawing a pretty decent total. The Diamondbacks against Logan Webb. Love Logan Webb. Excellent suppressor of runs. Excellent suppressor of power. Definitely considering him even against a good Diamondbacks lineup. And then going back the other way, I think we can dig into some Giants bats against Nabil Krismat. Definitely a appealing spot there, although he had an effective start over 6 1/3 his last time out against Texas. Wasn't terrible against Milwaukee the start before that. Garrett Crochet on the bump for the Red Sox. Only thing working against him there is all the A's power in that ballpark, but 4.01 implied total. He's looking pretty sharp, and there are plenty of strikeouts for him to go find. And then Luis Morales on the other side of that. Capable young pitcher, has decent strikeout stuff, but just a good Red Sox lineup on the other side, pulling a 5.1 implied total. Feels like a why do we need to kind of a spot. And then we round things off with Chase Dollander, who can be good away from Coors Field, but don't think we want to go there today against the Dodgers when they're pulling a monster nearly 6 implied total in Los Angeles. Tyler Glasnow on the mound for LA, pushing the Rockies down to 3.23 implied runs. Looks pretty good. That is the NFL file. There we go. Pitching board, so Crochet working his way to the top of the board, even with all that threat. It's a very high danger spot for those prices, though. 3-run home run bends your day. 3-run home run followed by scraping out another run or 2 definitely breaks your day at those prices. So buyer beware up top. You've got a much, much easier matchup for Tyler Glasnow against the Rockies. He's similarly priced on FanDuel, but still 500 less does make a difference. That buys you a pretty big bat upgrade. 87 for Glasnow is bananas on DraftKings. I don't really understand that compared to those other prices. Last time out, 7 innings against the Diamondbacks. 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Didn't walk anybody in that one. The walks have been a little bit of an issue. Just going up against the free swinging Rockies, it's just a weird price. They're doing you a favor there. I would expect he's going to be crazy popular. No issues with Brian Wu at price on either site, but you're obviously paying a full price for him. Less danger in that spot, certainly, though. I would say that Logan Webb between these two, I would probably lean toward Wu against the Cards rather than Webb against the Diamondbacks. But if you equalize it out by saying Wu might not give us that full 6 innings that we've come to expect, then it probably does get a little bit closer because Logan Webb is typically good for 6 plus. If all goes to plan, I could see him eventually outpacing Wu, but I think that one's very, very close. Happy to take either one of those guys. Imanaga, a little upside at 94, 9,000, but that is probably the limits of what I would want to pay for Imanaga against a still quality Braves lineup bad as they've been. Lodolo, similar story against the Pods, although that 82 is a nice discount on DraftKings. He comes with some visible downside, and that is a very low strikeout, high-quality Padres team. Don't love the idea of tangling with them. I'd rather probably have Yu Darvish on the other side of that game, going up against the lower middle part of the board Reds. Seems like a reasonable spot. 77.69 is very affordable to find out. Simeon Woods Richardson, just really high danger against that hard-hitting Angels team, 74.63. I don't really see too much beyond those medians. Puts him in like playable territory on a kind of ugly SP2 board. Jose Quintana against the Rangers is kind of the same thing at 79.72. There's not a ton of upside there. I do like Morales at the 8,000, but that's a very high danger spot, both in that ballpark and with a pretty aggressively good Red Sox team on the other side. They've taken some bumps in that lineup recently, but still a quality ball club. I don't love going to Morales, but if you're going to do it, I would probably take the 8,000 rather than the 9,800 that FanDuel came up with somehow. Jacob Latz at 64, 7,000, mix and match quality. Krismat, nah. And then we get to Elder against the Cubs, Dana against the Twins, Michael is Dollander. It's real ugly real fast. If you want to throw darts, I would probably say Elder Michaelis, and Dollander are all somewhat equivalent darts. None really comes with upside. All three are in a very high danger spot. Dana's the guy that I would think is a little bit more just off the board. But it gets ugly down the board for pitching. Peaks high. Cubs lineup is in. There's the Marlins. Hold on one second. I was waiting on the Marlins lineup to make sure that Xavier Edwards is gonna play today because I got Alec Boehm went to the IL in a surprise this afternoon, so I got to make some changes on the lineup for the Dynasty team. It's basically a Xavier Edwards versus Andrew Vaughn decision, and Edwards plays one more game. They're playing the Nats and the Tigers. I don't love that back end against the Tigers, but 7 games there versus 6 games against the Rangers and Cards for Vaughn. Not a great position. I wish they had added him yesterday so I could have made a pickup. All right, I think this is what I'm going to roll with. I'm chasing saves this week. Sucks because we do a side pot head-to-head World Series the last few weeks, which is like a bracketed tournament. And I'm probably going to lose my head-to-head matchup. It doesn't really matter because I'm chasing the roto categories for the actual championship. So I'm loading up on saves this week, but that's going to limit me on innings pitched, not wins, but innings pitched and Ks, and we'll see what it does to my ERA and WHIP numbers this week. That's been my strength all season. I have 12s in most of the pitching categories. Anyway, you guys don't care about that. Let's dig into this main slate here. Let's see what lineups came through. All right, Cubs lineup is in. So, Imanaga, 9,094. Again, totally in play, 3.15 ERA, but a concerning 4.57 xFIP. Sub-1 whip on a 4.8% walk rate, but just around a 20% strike rate that does come with a lot of premium contact. Right, that's a big home run number, and it's entirely justifiable by all these fly balls with that kind of hard hit, that kind of barrel rate. So the Braves' power numbers are in business here. We've got Matty Olson up at the top looking pretty solid. We've got Ronald Acuna sliding down to the 6th spot in this confirmed version of the lineup. That's a little bit weird, but obviously monster upside from him. So a lot of power showing for the Braves. Some of the guys in the middle with adequate numbers for those spots. Marcelo Ozuna hitting 8th is weird, 7.79 in the home run model. They're definitely rolling out a strange one. Ha-Sung Kim cleaning up, 3,100, 2,600. Is this correct? Yeah, this is what they're doing. All right. So Imanaga, high danger spot for sure, but capable of getting through this team, finding a 1-in-5 type strikeout. That's around where they come in. Bryce Elder on the other side, 18% strikeouts against 8% walks. Gives up a little bit less power, and it is on an appreciably low launch angle, 7.9 degree average launch, a 3.47% home run rate, because you can still square him up. You can still hit the ball hard against him, but he has a little bit more of an impact on the home run numbers on the other side. Only Seiya Suzuki above the magic number for home runs. He's got 27. He's been stuck there for a minute. Matty Olson finally hit his 22nd on the other side of this one. Both those guys contenders on the Dynasty team, and we need their power in a big way, so we're hoping for that. On the top of the Cubs lineup, we like the quality with Michael Busch, Ian Happ. Seiya Suzuki is a little 3-man. Everybody's nice and affordable on DK. A little bit more expensive site to site on FanDuel, 44.34, 36.35 for Ian Happ. That DraftKings price is very low for Ian Happ. He's hit 20 home runs this year. His creator runs 13% better than average. Excellent 363 xWOBA to show the quality. Gets on base at a 340 clip. Nothing to dislike about Ian Happ, and he hits the ball hard. There's a very good player. A lot of barrels, a lot of hard hits in this Cubs lineup still. Busch has 26 home runs, a 230 ISO, a 130 WRC plus up top. 27 homers out of Suzuki with a 221 ISO, a 118 WRC plus, with the pace slowed dramatically for his power output somewhere around the middle of July when I acquired him. Pete Crow Armstrong, 4,500, 3,500. Those prices, especially on DK, have come down pretty aggressively. His output is definitely slowed. He's at 254, 293, 496, 28 homers, 32 steals. This season has been fantastic, but we've definitely hit a little bit of a wall. So you go there if you're going Cubs, but he's less of a priority, less of a reason to go to the Cubs while still having all the upside that he's displayed all season. He is that ball player that we've seen all year. Nico Horner, on base, stolen base skills, correlated scoring guy in the heart of the lineup. Willie Castro gives you a little bit of mid-board power, a little bit of stolen base ability. Just an average player who fills a lot of spots. He's better when he's a secret rather than a priority. I feel like you can get to Willie in that role today, though. Dansby Swanson, a lot of power at shortstop, 3,800, 3,200. He's at 22 home runs, stolen 13 bases, dead at league average WRC plus mark. And look at all the premium contact you can buy with Dansby for a cheap price from an excellent shortstop option. Matty Shaw and Reese McGuire down the bottom of the lineup, mix and match pieces. Both Shaw has been decent for counting stats while not being outstanding over 375 plate appearances. And McGuire has a little pop in that bat. 8 home runs, a 221 ISO, and just 120 plate appearances with 11% barrels. On the Braves side, Jurickson Profar having a good 300-ish plate appearances here. 261, 360, 486, 136 WRC plus, 13 home runs. He has been the player that the Braves thought they were getting. He just missed a lot of time with that suspension. Olsen at 46-33, excellent power upside for the money. No problem paying those prices, even lefty here against the Managa. It's just not a thing. 190 ISO needs to climb a little bit for Olsen, but the premium contact has been there all year long. Maybe we get a big last few weeks to make the numbers kind of round into form a little bit. Ozzy Albies has surged up the board, 242, 309, 370, and 88 WRC plus. Still not good, but climbing. The counting stat totals are climbing. Ozzy's reclaimed a spot near the top of the lineup. He's been really good. Still cheap at second base. Ha-Seong Kim is a good player. Limited 112 plate appearances this year, was limited by injury last year, but if you look back to 2 years ago, very good across the board for counting stats. Good category filler, slides into shortstop for a cheap price, 2,600 at short or second on FanDuel. Not a bad option, but he's more of a mixer because if you're going to the Braves, you still want Matt Olson, maybe one of those other two up in the top 3 spots. You got to leave room for Acuna. You got to leave room for Ozuna or Michael Harris. One of those two should be in your lineup. So there's only so many spots we can get to. Drake Baldwin doing the catching today at 38, 3,000 looks like a good option. 15 homers for him, a 123 WRC plus. Acuna's Acuna at any price, at any spot in the lineup. You definitely want him. The hope would be maybe people go away from him a little bit, dip down the lineup there, but monster power upside, 15 homers in just 326 plate appearances, a 216 ISO. Michael Harris surged for a while there. He's got 17 home runs, 15 stolen bases. The counting stats normalized somewhat, but still mired at a 78 WRC plus. He's quite a bit better than that. Always playable. Ozuna's cheap. 20 home runs out of him, but it's been a down season undeniably outside of the excellent ongoing on base percentage. 355 on base, a 113 WRC plus that's pushed up by that on base. 16.4% walk rate this year. And the power is still there. The power is still real. The premium contact still exists. It's just come down quite a bit from expectation. Nacho Alvarez up to 256, 331, 338 now. The hit tool's kind of coming through a little bit. On-base skills are showing against a low walk rate, medium strikeout rate. We just need him to keep putting the ball in play. That's his skill set. So Babbitt focused on base correlated scoring guy. Not the worst option in the world from the bottom of the lineup as like a wraparound play. But now you're wrapping him around to Profar, Albies, Ha-Seong Kim for 3 of those 4 spots up top. So I like it a little bit less with this configuration of the lineup. But the Braves are playable at a 4-2-3. So are the Cubbies. Let's say Cubs bats Imanaga, Braves bats Bryce Elder. Rangers lineup is in. Brewers is yet to come in. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel. If you weren't here at the beginning in the run-up, we are going to try and jump on a little bit later on and do a football show for tonight's single gamer. Apologies, by the way. Just hopefully you guys saw the massive 20,000 some odd word game-by-game breakdown for the main slate, but was not able to pull a main slate show together for week 1. I was going to do it on Saturday. Had all day Saturday where I was just sitting here doing all that work and just forgot how long that goddamn thing takes. So that one got away from us schedule-wise, but this week is clear. We don't have a couple days missing at the beginning of the week, so we'll be on top of that. We'll knock out some football content for the main slate during the week this week and make it a little bit more easy on those of us who, instead of marathoning our way through the weekend. Anyway, Jose Quintana, 72, 79, 16% strikeouts. Oh, as I was saying, the single game football show will be after this, 5:30-ish, 6 o'clock-ish. Whoever shows up, shows up. We'll build some lineups and talk through that single game. Top of the Brewers. Kind of interesting up there. They've been rolling through the season while still not being the greatest looking fantasy squad. They just win baseball games. They're just a good group of run creators. They're always in play, but they rate out a little bit less than some of the peak teams that just have massive power that always is on display and so on. But they're in play at a 4.38 implied total against Jacob Latz. He comes in with a 3.15 ERA, a 4.43 xFIP across 5 starts, some hybrid work in relief, just walks too many, gives up a little bit of premium contact on a fly ball trajectory. So given the 17-degree average launch, the 40 and the 90 there, I think that this will eventually climb over a larger sample, as will that. So I think home run's realistic expectation here. The stuff plus mark is good, though. Like, he's clearly got decent stuff and has been successful in that role where he's pitching in a little bit of bulk relief work, a start here and there. When he's started, he's been capable of working fairly deep into games. 5 1/3 on September 2nd against the Diamondbacks. 2 earned runs on 5 hits, struck out just 1, walked 2. Had a better strikeout outing the game before that against the high strikeout Angels. He struck out 5. Gave up a home run, but only 2 earned runs on 4 hits over 4 1/3. That was a full start. 3 1/3 in bulk relief of 1 hit ball, struck out 4, walk 1 against KC. It's a decent appearance against those Royals. They're fairly low strikeout. Then it's a handful of relief appearances, but you go back to the 20th, he went 5 in a full start, 1 run, 6 hits against the Tigers. Another low strikeout day, though. The strikeouts have come a little bit more at max effort, I think, in bulk relief innings than they have in the starts. So just something to be wary of there. I don't think we're going to Jacob Latz anyway against a reasonably good Brewers team at a fairly low projection. And then, as I was about to say, Quintana, not really striking anybody out, walking too many, 3.72 ERA, but a massive 4.90 xFIP. And this, I promise you, is the real number. No swinging strikes, no CSW, too many barrels, too many hard hits. That home run number could be quite a bit higher. So I think we're considering Rangers bats right alongside the Brewers bats here. If this is what the Brewers roll out, Jackson Chourio at the top of the lineup at 48.35, totally fairly priced. 275, 312, 479 with a 200-plus ISO, 19 homers, 18 steals. Missed a little bit of time in there, but up over 500 plate appearances, and he's been high quality. I think next year we probably see the big jump out of Chourio, but this is very, very good from a second-year player. 117 WRC+. Isaac Collins, solid season, 371 on base, a 128 WRC+. Exemplary of what these Brewers are doing in that he's not exactly crushing home runs. He's got 9 this season, but he gets on base. He hits for average. He gets on base. This Brewers team defies a little bit of a modern think. William Contreras at 45 at 32, 17 homers on the board, a 359 on base out of him, 117 WRC+. Vaughn, as mentioned, you'll need to find that power stroke again a little bit. He's got 14 home runs. He did have a successful last 3-4 days with extra base hits, but it's been a minute since he's hit one out of the park. 248, 296, 409 overall. Still a quality ball player. Hits the ball very hard. 12.8% barrel, 47.7% hard hit. Leads the team in both categories in this configuration of the lineup. Caleb Durbin at cheap prices, mix and match quality guy, 10 home runs, 13 steals, okay slash line overall, 103 WRC+, always playable, never a priority. Danny Jansen hits the ball squarely for a cheap catcher, 2,900 where you need the position, 8% barrel rate. It's just a positional conflict with William Contreras, who is definitely better. On FanDuel, you can get them both, and if you're going Brewers, it's a reasonable consideration with Jansen coming in at just 2,600. 11 home runs, a 167 ISO. Those are Danny Jansen quality numbers. Andrew Monasterio, Blake Perkins, and Joey Ortiz down the bottom of the lineup. Monasterio has been the most productive of them, 124 WRC+ over his 113 chances compared to the 77 in a similarly small sample and the 66 in a very large sample for Joey Ortiz. I think you take Monasterio shares at shortstop probably ahead of Ortiz, given the difference in quality and a limited price difference. On FanDuel, they're the same price with Monasterio slotting into more positions. He's hit the ball more squarely with that 6.2% barrel rate. Strikes out a little bit more. They walk the same low number. I'm taking the guy who's found a little bit more success via the hit tool this year. On the Rangers side, Wyatt Langford up at the top at 44.36, 21 homers, 18 steals, showing the quality lately, 343 on base, a 192 ISO, 118 WRC+. The problem arises in the fact that everyone else below him, until you get to the 52 plate appearances of Michael Hellman, pretty significantly below average when you look at WRC+. Cody Freeman has decent numbers in the minors, over 60 plate appearances in the show. He's been pretty bad outside of 2 home runs, a 57 WRC+, a 276 xWOBA to tell us that the lack of quality seems pretty real. He's been low strikeout, low walk, but the balls in play have not been well struck so far. Josh Young does hit the ball hard, 8% barrels, 45% hard hits. It's resulted in 13 home runs, a mediocre slash line, sub 300 on base. 93 WRC plus. Another sub 300 on base in the next spot at 275 with 14 home runs out of Jake Berger. Berger does hit for power. Still definitely puts good wood on the ball. Not really drawing any walks, but not really striking out at a problematic rate. Like, this is fine, but you need to hit more home runs more consistently. Just a 190 ISO. We need to be over 200. Last year, he had 29 with a 209. Year before, 34 with a 268. Just look at this. Atrocious. That is a 9-man average on base of 283. The only guy over a 300 on base percentage in this confirmed version of the Rangers lineup is Wyatt Langford. Not that that's really a bump to Jose Quintana. You could probably change that story against Quintana, but man, what bad results for this team. Adolis Garcia went to the IL finally, by the way. Dylan Moore, mix and match quality across multiple positions. Does have a little pop in the bat, 10 home runs, 13 steals. Mediocre over 225 plate appearances, though. Kyle Higashioka, same deal. He can barrel the occasional ball. He's hit 10 home runs this year. He had 17 in an outlier season for power last year, but that's your just cheap catcher home run hunting there. Jonah Heim could give you the same upside at the same position for 28, 24. He's also hit 10 home runs this year. Hellman's been creating some runs, but not through anything overly visible outside of the 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases. 274 xWOB onto the surface. Not really hitting the ball squarely. And then Ezequiel Duran is just a utility guy. It's a low-end version of the Rangers lineup. 422 implied total is really just because Jose Quintana is not any good. It wouldn't honestly stun me if he had an okay start against this version of the lineup. It's just very right-handed. Some of these guys are underperforming their actual talents with some of these numbers. So I don't think you go here anyway. But, man, if there was ever a day that Quintana could find some success, let's say Brewers bats. Rangers bats just by default, though. It's not that big a gap between them and then Jose Quintana and bottom of the barrel Jacob Latz. What's up, Cooch? Cujo's here. Lone Wolf saying Darvish will be Chuck. Wouldn't surprise me. Small little crew here hanging out, but 2080 there. Hit the like button for me if you get a chance. Check out rotoscouts.com if you're new, if you haven't been around for a while. Promo ended for the $15 monthlies, but if you hit me up, if you're looking, I'll be happy to carve you out a little coupon code or something if you're just looking to check things out behind the scenes. Either way, everything's under $1 a day. Right now, you're getting every single football game. You're getting baseball as well through the month of September and into the playoffs. Next month, we'll be starting up with NHL, NBA right behind that. One price for all of it, and it's under $1 a day for access to everything that hits that website. So check out rotoscouts.com, guys. Weekly, monthly, quarterly plans are available. Our Discord is free, and you don't have to be a subscriber, and it's linked in the description of this video below. The Twins with Simeon Woods Richardson, ugly pitching in this one. Caden Dana going for the Angels. Lineups-wise, we have neither of them. Last time out, we were kind of looking at Caden Dana and seeing a juicy target for a little bit of home run upside. I don't think anything's changed just because he didn't allow one in that start. Went out, pitched 5 against the Royals, struck out 4, walked 1. Not a bad day. 2 hits, 1 earned run over 5. If you can come out and replicate that, obviously you've got something on your hands, but I like the upside on the other side of this one. His 2 starts prior to that, he gave up a home run in each game. He walked 4 while striking out 4 against Miami. Struck out just 2, walked 1, gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits in 3 innings against the Guardians, and just some ugly numbers. So I'm looking to target this young pitcher with some Twins bats. What's the word on Buxton? So Buxton's day-to-day. He's got a knee contusion, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a trip to the IL. He's not in this projected lineup, but if he was, he'd be a major, major priority. Just to put a number on it, that's what Byron Buxton's home run number against this guy would be. So we want Buxton in there. If he's in there, it makes the Twins look even better. But right now, we're not projecting him in with this version of the lineup. Still, we get a plenty of power showing here for the Twins. Multiple guys. We've got our home run pick of the day coming out of this lineup today. I like the upside for Twins bats. And similar on the Angels side. Just Mike Trout above the magic number for home run power. A little bit of long memory, a little bit of faith there. But you've got Neto, Ward, Adele, everybody just below the magic number for home run upside against a guy giving up a 4.12% home run rate that's entirely real and consistent with what we've seen. 4.53 ERA and a 5.17 xFIP. He's walked 10+% against just 20% strikeouts. Nothing about Woods Richardson is at all appealing on the mound. I do not think you go there, even with the high strikeout Angels in play. He's just not good enough. There's just too much downside. Yes, as a dart at 63, at 74, can you play him across a bunch of lineups? Sure. On a, either very expensive or otherwise ugly pitching slate? Sure. Throw the dart if you want to. But the 5 implied total on the other side is kind of saying not to. So are the home run model numbers. So is everything about Simeon Woods Richardson's quality. Twins bats, assuming this version of the lineup. Austin Martin, not a bad way to get started. 284, 382, 375. Decent table setter ahead of where the power is. Trevor Larnach's got a 44% hard hit. He's got a 10.31 in the home run model. He's barreled more balls in years past. He has hit 16 home runs this year, though. 154 ISO, big lefty bat with a lot of power in it. Luke Keishel's the most expensive player in this version of the lineup, and deservedly so. 153 very good plate appearances to start the career. What a crop of rookies we've had this year. 321, 405, 485, a 151 WRC plus. Excellent quality at the plate. Not the biggest bat on the planet, but low strikeout, high walk, puts the ball in play, finds a lot of success, and can drive the ball for extra base hit quality. So excellent option there at second base at any price. Matt Wallner, 36-31. Love the power upside for him against this pitcher. 21 home runs at 266 ISO, major source of premium contact from the left side. Cody Clemens has also barreled the ball like crazy this year, found a lot of hard hit this year. He's hit 16 home runs and 321 plate appearances, 222 ISO. Love the upside for power for him. 11.59 for Wallner, 10.24 for Cody Clemens in the home run model today. Royce Lewis, better than a mix and match player. 10 home runs, just a 152 ISO and 86 WRC plus. Disappointment across the board, including that 313 xWOBA, which is a little substandard and doesn't really inspire faith. But low strikeout, medium walk, a lot of well-struck balls in play. For DFS purposes, this is what we're looking for. 9% barrel, 41% hard hit, cheap at third base with quality upside, 8.47 in the home run model. Sneaky option if you're playing with Twins. Brooks Lee at 3,000 at 26 has hit 14 home runs. If you're just hunting for power, he's reasonable. 6-something there in the home run model, 6.4. Johnny Pereda, mix and match quality catcher. And then James Outman at 2,300 on both sides. 11.5% barrels from the left side. He's hit 2 home runs on the season. 129, 214, 258 otherwise. Just a 129 ISO. This is a player who was quite good a couple years ago and then has just been injured and in and out of lineups. Does have power from the left side, going up against a pitcher who's given up a lot of home runs this year and throughout the minors. Love the upside for James Outman. That's our home run pick of the day. Just have to hope that he's actually in the lineup. On the Angels side, Zach Neto, 25 homers, 24 steals, leading into Mike Trout with 20 home runs and a 191 ISO. Neto's been the better of the two players so far this season. It's difficult to say. 114 WRC plus, although Trout is technically a point ahead in WRC plus. Neto's been more consistent, more reliable for counting stats. Either way, that's a dynamite pairing off the top. And Mike Trout is now below 4,000 on DraftKings, 3,800. I feel like there should be a big bell like alerting the people that Mike Trout is below 4,000. 32 on FanDuel is still also a very cheap price. Joel Moncada, 33.27, has 11 home runs and 248 chances, a 223 ISO. Has fit right in with the team theme of just barrels, hard hits. We don't care about strikeout. He's drawing a little bit of walk too. He's been impressive other than the 242 part of his slash line. It's not a bad year. 122 WRC plus, backed up by the 338 xWOBA. Taylor Ward, monster power, 30 home runs on the season for him. Joey Adele, 35 home runs. Can we get a crazy rush and get to 40 home runs this year from Joe Adele? I'm not ruling it out at this point. 17.4% barrel rate, 264 ISO. Love Joey Adele. Happy to see it. 3,000, 2,500 mix and match quality from Luis Renifo, Ozzy Peraza, and Bryce Teodosio down the lineup does hamper the bottom of this lineup a little bit. That is a low quality group of hitters. In between those guys, Travis d'Arnaud, very cheap, kind of interesting catcher. Just 6 home runs and a 148 ISO this year, but we've seen plenty of premium contact over the seasons from d'Arnaud, and he does have a 10.8% barrel that is reminiscent of years past. Just a lot of strikeout, low walk. Mix and match quality, but people are not going to consider him. So if we're just home run hunting against a home run vulnerable pitcher, fire away with d'Arnaud shares. And he helps make, I mean, it's already a very cheap lineup, but like d'Arnaud, yes. I mean, if you just took the obvious guys and we're unfortunately skipping Moncada there, well, that's a $3,800 on the nose price for the 5-man there. And you can even cheapen it. Like, let's say we didn't go Neto and we took Moncada, 35.80. That is a cheap stack to build with against a nothing pitcher with a 5-run total. Angels should be popular. If they're not popular, grab more. Angels bats, Twins bats, or Twins bats, Angels bats. Either way you want to play that, honestly. I think the Angels were slightly ahead in projection, but the Twins are ahead on the power index, the home run model, but very close with a lot of offense shown on either side. And then I guess technically Woods Richardson for the strikeout upside facing the Angels over Caden Dana, but don't really like the looks of either pitcher. Cards and Mariners lineup still not in for this one either. So Miles Michaelis, a 4.89 ERA, a 4.91 xFIP, sub 15% strikeouts. It does come with a healthy walk rate at 5.6 if you need one positive indicator, but that is literally your only positive indicator here. Doesn't get any swinging strikes or throw enough strikes, too many barrels, too many hard hits, too much exit velo, 4.10% home runs, target for Mariners bats. Brian Wu, on the other hand, outstanding. 25.2% strikeouts against 5.1% walks, a 3.02 ERA, a 3.56 xFIP. Not really concerned about the half-run difference there. He's tremendous. Sub-1 whip, 11.8% swinging strikes. As stated, the last two were the first times all season long that he didn't complete the sixth. 5 2/3, and then the most recent start, just 5 innings. If we get a little concerned about that around those prices, he is priced for a 6-inning start, not a 5-inning start, but he's tremendous. I see no issues with expecting 6 innings of quality with the Cards at a 3.06 implied total. That kind of knocks them off the board. If you want a contrarian team, then sure, but that's really all they have to offer here. And it is a pretty decent Mariners bullpen that they will be coming up against if Wu comes out early. Newt Bar from the top is inexpensive at 37.28. He's got a 7 in the home run model. He's hit 13 this year, 140 ISO, pretty down season overall for him, but he has struck the ball well with a 10+% barrel, 50% hard hit. So you would start there. He's also drawn a 10+% walk, but that's less of an issue with Wu on the mound. Ivan Herrera does hit the ball squarely. He's hit 14 homers, very solid slash line in 370 chances this year, a 130 WRC plus. Excellent source of run creation, slots into the outfield as well as catcher on FanDuel, which is nice. Catcher only on DraftKings, but that works. Alec Burleson at 39, 3,000. Mix and match quality player with a little bit of additional upside. 16 home runs, has been one of the better bats on the Cards, but that's not really saying that much. Low strikeout, medium walk, though. A lot of well-struck balls in play, but it only amounts to a 165 ISO. Has been a good run creator at 120 WRC+. Mason Wynn, mediocre shortstop. 254, 312, 365, a 92 WRC+. It's just nothing special there. It's low strikeout, low walk. Meh. Doesn't hit the ball well. Nolan Gorman crushes baseballs. 14 home runs and 350 chances. A 182 ISO needs to climb for sure. The barrels have come down year over year. The strikeouts have come down a little bit, but still 31%. He does draw his walks. He's an interesting player at cheap pricing across both sides. Thomas Igisi at 24-23 is no better than mix and match, 71 WRC+. Jimmy Crooks, catcher eligible, 21 across sites, has done nothing in his, has a home run in his 15 plate appearances. Give Crooks a fair shake here. In the minors, 14 home runs and 430 chances in AAA this year, 11 in AA last year, 12 the year before from A-ball up through high A. A reasonable little mid-board type power, I would guess, but nothing overly special down there. Jordan Walker, still like the player, still very intrigued by those premium contact numbers. This could be next year's Joe Adele type of a guy. But right now, it's been difficult to spot. 5 home runs, 7 stolen bases from him. Still very, very young, even though he's been here for a couple of years. Still trying to figure it out. Victor Scott steals a lot of bases, doesn't contribute in any other way. On the Mariners side, 4.54 implied total to attack Miles Michaelis seems very appealing to me. We have 2 guys above the magic number. They're the 2 obvious ones in Cal Raleigh and Joanio Suarez. A couple points behind that, we've got Julio, who's up to 30 home runs now. What a ridiculous run. 25 stolen bases, a 212 ISO. Maybe not full credit there in the home run model for Julio. Part of it is his up and down nature. Randy Rosarena, tons of barrels, tons of hard hits out of him as well. 26 homers, 27 stolen bases, a 126 WRC+, 204 ISO. This is a monster lineup. Josh Naylor, 47-33, has 24 stolen bases, 18 home runs, a 282, 345, 448 slash line. Feel like we're not talking about Josh Naylor. He's just kind of lost in the heart of this lineup, but always in play. Lowest strikeout guy of substance on the team. Excellent option at first base. Eugenio down to 4,400, 3,400. He's got 45 home runs, a 312 ISO. He hit 2 more home runs yesterday. Jorge Polanco at 4,029 on FanDuel with second base and third base eligibility. He's got 24 home runs, a 221 ISO. The quality kind of roller coastery, but he's been mostly good all season. 15% strikeouts this year, 9.9% barrels, 45.9% hard hits. Dominic Canzona, quality lefty in the outfield who still hits the ball very hard. 7 home runs in 221 plate appearances, just a 150 ISO. Up and down as far as the output goes, but a 126 WRC plus, a 361 xWOBA hiding there. Solid slash line. He's been excellent, and there's more power to give. JP Crawford at worst, very good at getting on base as a wraparound option from down there. That's a playable shortstop at 34, at 26. He's still a good run creator, 110 WRC plus. And then Cole Young, a mix and match piece at second base for a very cheap price. Hasn't been particularly good over 243 chances. Brian Wu, Mariners bats. I guess Michaelis, then the Cards bats, but that's very close, and neither one is at all appealing. I believe Adele is day-to-day as well. Thank you for that, JB. Appreciate the reminder there. Let me see. I caught that he was day-to-day. I did not catch what the actual injury is. He should be fine. He came out of the game yesterday, late in the game, after hitting a home run. Came out with nausea, so he just wasn't feeling well yesterday. He came out in the top of the 9th, so he does have a day-to-day tag. Maybe he's sick and doesn't play today, but just keep an eye out for that. Doesn't seem like he's actually hurt though. Ricky Rose, what's going on? Beyond the Rabbit Hole, good to see you. And JB Yankees, too. Appreciate the question there. And, good to see you, too. Clintwood, what's going on? We'll be back a little bit later on after this show wraps up to talk through the single-game Monday Night Football slate for tonight, build some lineups. So come on back for that one. I'll lock in the showtime when I'm done here and when I've got the sheet put together. We're at 4:46. Shooting for like 5:30, it'll probably be closer to 5:45, 6 o'clock. So come on back for that. Just watch your schedule, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, etc., etc. Nick Lodolo, 82-92, striking out 23.8% against a 4.6% walk rate this year, 3.22 ERA, a 3.71 xFIP, solid rating by Stuff Plus. Does give up a little bit of premium contact and power that doesn't necessarily play great against this Padres team, and they're a low strikeout squad with a 20.4% strikeout rate. I do think that this is a tough spot for Lodolo. 9,200 on FanDuel doesn't feel too comfy. 8,200 on DraftKings works a little bit better. High price SP2, low price SP1 kind of an option, but just doesn't necessarily lock into that low price SP1 role, given the downgrade that facing the Padres does to him. Last time out, 4 2/3 of 4-run ball against the Dodgers. Could be a similar kind of a day. Struck out 6 in that one and walked 1, but the 4 runs on 5 hits, obviously not ideal. That was his return after absence there as well. We get back to here. Come on. Oh, that's right. He didn't rehab in between those either. All right, that was a sickness. He scratched the other day, but it was just because he was sick. But he was out from the 4th to the 27th. Didn't rehab, came back 4 2/3 of meh, and then scratched from a start. So I don't think you would really want to expect more than like 5, maybe into the 6, but doesn't complete it unless everything goes great for Lodolo here. What did he throw pitch-wise there? Yeah, just 76 pitches in that one. I would say that we should probably be looking at Lodolo for 5, maybe a little bit more. But again, against this Padres team, I don't think that's going to be enough, especially not at that price. Then over here, you're still probably playing with fire because they put a couple runs on that, and then we don't get padding of additional innings pitched. Gets ugly fast. Yu Darvish on the other side at just 69 at 77 on the FanDuel slate, 22.4% strikeout over 51 2/3. A solid but not spectacular 4.37 xFIP, but that's quite a bit lower than that 5.75 ERA. Definitely think we can consider some shares of Yu Darvish against the team with a 24.7% strikeout rate. Just 4 innings in the last 2 starts, 6 innings in the start prior to that, as I ran down earlier. It's been up and down as far as depth and as far as quality has gone, but he has had a couple good starts in this run since coming back on July 7th. It was a slow run up in terms of building innings. Came back on the 7th, didn't completed 5 once, and then it was July 30th before he really got unleashed. Went 7 that day, 2 hit the Mets, no runs, 7 strikeouts. Then came back down 3-run day on over 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks against the Diamondbacks. Then went for 6, 1-run ball, 4 hit the Giants, 6 strikeouts, no walk in that one. 4 innings of 4-run ball against the Dodgers. Then followed that with 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Dodgers. And then we're back-to-back 4-inning bad starts. 4 earned runs against the Mariners over 4. 3 earned runs against the Orioles over 4. 6 strikeouts in that Orioles game. Has given up home runs consistently throughout. But maybe we're on deck for a little bit more depth, a little bit of quality here against a not exactly overwhelming Reds team, if we're being very diplomatic about it. A bad Reds team. They're not bad, but they're also not good. So yeah, I think we can get to Darvish, but it definitely comes with danger. 1 home run exactly in 3 straight starts, a 2 home run day prior to that stretch, and then 2 more starts prior to that with 1 home run allowed. So he's been giving up quite a few long balls along the way. 4.21% home run on not exactly a ton of premium contact and power. So hopefully that's just a little bit of mistakes here and there as he's kind of just, working his way back. You could say the same thing about the ERA, which is inflated by some of those, potentially artificial happenstance kind of home runs. There are things to like here. 10.4% swinging strike works, 22.5% strikeouts. Against, again, this team with plenty of strikeout in it, I like the upside, but probably going to get popular at those prices, as somebody pointed out in chat. Reds bats against. I do think that given the bumps in the road that we've seen with Darvish in his return here, you could consider some Reds out of the lower total teams, out of the less likely teams. They're definitely one of the more interesting ones. TJ Friedl, good enough to lead off up there, 366 on base, a 108 WRC plus, good correlated scoring in table setting as for our purposes as well in real life, and he's cheap. Noelvio Marte's been pretty good, 4,000, still has that third base eligibility on FanDuel, which is nice because we want to grab some outfielders from other teams. Just outfield on DraftKings, but you can still make it work. 285, 328, 496, 211 ISO, dozen home runs. Ellie at 51 at 39. Solid season across the board for counting stats. Those are fantastic. Maybe it's not the monster superstar all-world breakout that people might have been expecting, but that's a very, very good season. 108 WRC plus, multi-category player. Austin Hayes at 39 at 3,000 has 14 home runs, an adequate slash line, a 198 198 ISO. 26% strikeouts against just medium walks. Does barrel the ball, but not all that consistently as far as hard hits go. The output comes and goes with Austin Hayes, but he's a capable right-handed hitter. Gavin Lux is similar to TJ Friedl in that they both get on base, light hitting type guys. They're more correlated scorers. You probably want one, not both, but if they're both in your lineup at cheap pricing, it's totally fine, and they are effective run creators. Sal Stewart, little mix and match quality there, has found a few barrels along the way in his 15 chances so far. In the minors, in 494 plate appearances this year, from AA to AAA, 20 home runs, 17 stolen bases, a 309, 383, 524 slash line, and he's only 21. That's an interesting player. Sixth ranked organizationally. Traditional scouting doesn't really love the numbers, but had some success through the minors. This is his biggest season so far in the minors, but he hasn't exactly been here all that long. And rocking it to the show. Kind of interesting guy at a very, very cheap price to keep in mind if you're using Reds already. Probably not a reason to go to the Reds. Tyler Stevenson, though, 33-29, 11% barrels, 49.1% hard hits. It's resulted in just 9 home runs and a 167 ISO over 294 plate appearances. That is a power hitting catcher who can definitely drive one out of the ballpark. Very high strikeout this year, but also drawing some walks. The strikeout in more plate appearances would probably normalize back down. Not a problematic play if you're going to Reds. Ke'Bryan Hayes, not exactly a premium bat. Does hit the ball very squarely over time, but never sees results for it. 5 home runs, a .078 ISO as if to make the point. And then Matty McLean, very good a couple years ago. He is up to 14 homers and 16 steals with some decent counting stats across the way there, but only 229, 310, 356, a 299 xWOBA, but no reliability. On the Padres side, definitely see the upside against Nick Lodolo. Fernando Tatis out of the leadoff spot, 9.58 in the home run model. He's up to 20. He's got 27 stolen bases to go with it, a 128 WRC plus. The power's dipped for sure, but the quality's been maintained, and he's still hitting the ball very hard. Luis Arias, a contact-oriented hitter, 285, 323, 89, a good correlated scoring option who should be leading off. Fairly priced, although the 43 at first base kind of breaks more against the position for that price for that player than it does at second base for 27 on FanDuel. Manny Machado at 5 at 34. Excellent season with 23 homers, 12 stolen bases. I feel like the pace cooled off somewhere along the way there as far as the output. I was expecting maybe we would chase 30 home runs, but still a dynamite year. 283, 42, 465, creating runs 26% better than average by WRC plus. Excellent contact numbers, low strikeout, giving you everything you want at third base. Ramon Laureano's had a breakout year, 300, 365, 48 with 23 home runs, a 248 ISO. Has been tremendous for San Diego, was tremendous for Baltimore before coming here. Jackson Merrill at 41-29. Down year compared to last year, 406 kind of plate appearances, but still a very playable option with premium contact upside. Jose Iglesias is a mix and match quality hitter if he's that. Not much of a bat there. Jake Cronenworth, much better option at those positions. Fairly priced on both sides for a guy who can get on base very effectively, can drive the ball out of the ballpark, even though he's not a major power bat. He does have a okay barrel rate year over year. Low strikeout, medium walk rate, always in play. Freddie Fairman, a decent average as far as just put the ball in play and succeed via BABIP. Doesn't do a whole lot more than that. But if you're going to give me a catcher for a very cheap price who can hit 260 to 280 in terms of batting average for the season and just every now and again come through, that's a reasonable consideration if we're building a lot of stacks of this team. It's not a priority. He's not my first one necessarily, but he is very cheap at the catcher spot. And then Mason McCoy at 23-2000 has had a pretty bad 14 plate appearances this year. Last year was a pretty bad 57 plate appearances, and he did nothing in that one plate appearance back in 2023. If we want to give him a little bit more of a fair shake than that, it's really not much reason to. 11 home runs and 17 stolen bases in the minors this year in 386 plate appearances, but the dude is 30. So, yeah, just at best, cheap spot filler down there. Padres bats, Yu Darvish, Nick Lodolo, Reds bats. But I think the Reds are a little bit more in play than that ranking might suggest. They're very cheap for one. Darvish is gettable, especially if he gets popular over here. I think that would be a reasonable stack to consider in other lineups as a contrarian. And if you're building a lot with Darvish, I think hedging a little bit in other lineups with some Reds would probably be a good idea. Just skipping the Diamondbacks game because screw 'em. Low total for them going up against Logan Webb, who is tremendous. 3.17 ERA and a 2.75 xFIP. Normally those numbers work the other way around. Logan Webb is phenomenal. 26.3% strikeouts against just a 5% walk. Induces swinging strikes. Throws a ton of strikes. 5.3 degree average launch, keeps the ball in the yard, 1.76% home runs, despite some barrels, some hard hits, some premium contact. Last year, very similar at 1.31 on a 2.5 degree average launch. The year before, 2.35 on a 0.6 degree average launch. Pitches deep into games, 200 plus innings each of the last few years, 192 and a third, 32, 33, 33 starts. This is his 30th start of this season. Just rock solid up at the top. 10,000, 10-6 against a Diamondbacks lineup that is good but diminished in quality, that is medium strikeout with some of these guys that'll be in this version of the lineup, but very dangerous still up at the top. Not a safe spot for Webb, but what he does well should tend to limit the Diamondbacks' upside and their ability to burn you on this play. So among the expensive pitchers, he is the guy that comes with, just from his attributes, a little degree of added safety. And safety is the wrong word, but you get me. Nabil Krismat on the other side at 62, at 86, very differently priced across sites. 2.14 ERA and a 4.27 xFIP in his 3 starts, his 21 innings. Pitched 1 outing, 4 innings in bulk relief over that stretch. Last time out against Texas, went 6 1/3, 2-run ball, 7 hits, struck out just 3 and walked 1. Start before that, 5 2/3 against Milwaukee, 4 runs, but only 2 of them earned. Gave up 8 hits, struck out 2, walked 1, gave up a home run. Not really sure how FanDuel arrived at that price. This makes a lot more sense. Feel like this is a little bit cheap. You can definitely target the Giants. They're pulling a 4.33 implied total against, but it's not like they're showing a ton of premium contact upside or power. So far, he's been excellent at inducing weak and medium contact. This is super small sample, but he's given up nothing in terms of premium contact so far. Doesn't really rate well by stuff. Plus, doesn't really look the part of an expensive pitcher. Oops. Years past, it's been all in relief work. And we're talking about a guy who's been, at best, a 23% strikeout pitcher, even at max effort in relief. And we're not getting that. Has been okay. 3.55 career ERA, a 3.96 career xFIP over 198 innings. And again, 118 games, but only 4 starts. I just don't get this. I wouldn't go to him on FanDuel. If you want to throw some darts at 62, considering that we're getting 6 innings or the shot at, no issues with it. Diamondbacks bats against Logan Webb don't feel like a great idea, even though they are a quality team. If we're talking about contrarian, lower owned teams, there would be quality in going to those guys, but you're not getting much of a discount for facing one of the better run limiters in baseball. Adaldo Perdomo at 45.37 gets on base, outstanding 382 on base percentage. Excellent table setter with 17 home runs and 24 stolen bases, an individual contributor as well. He's been phenomenal this year, 11.2% strikeouts and 13.1% walks. Maybe Webb doesn't get him with the K, but he is a good strikeout pitcher, and he doesn't walk anybody. So those attributes, we'll see where they go. Ketel Marte's got those same 2 positive attributes. He also hits the ball quite a bit harder, 25 home runs at 283, 386, 520 slash line. He's like the on steroid, not actually on steroids, but he's the more powerful version of the same player. I was going to say juiced up, but that's the same thing. Corbin Carroll at 59, 41, 30 homers, 25 steals, another outstanding season, a 141 WRC plus. And then we dip a little bit. Gabriel Moreno is a good catcher at 3,500, 2,700. He would definitely be in play. And if anybody other than Logan Webb was on the mound, I'd be talking about that cheap DraftKings price as just like a one-off spot, considering how much he gets on base, how much he creates runs, and how much individual upside he has. But he's facing Logan Webb. Edwin Del Castillo, a lot of hard hits so far in 97 plate appearances, holding his own as far as the slash line goes outside of the on-base percentage. Has delivered a little bit, but that 239 xWOB is kind of concerning. Comes with a 3.3% barrel, a lot of strikeouts, not enough walks. Mix and match quality catcher, and would probably prefer Moreno if we're going to anybody in this lineup at all. Blaze Alexander has hit the ball very squarely, fits into multiple positions for a fair price. 7 home runs, a 193 ISO. Definitely in consideration if we're going to this team, but if we take the power away, I don't like it quite as much, and there's a lot of strikeout there at 32.2%. Jake McCarthy, mix and match outfielder, sub Mendoza, 246 on base, over 172 plate appearances this year, has not been good. Tyler Locklear, great numbers through the minors, has not found it at all in the show so far. 37.1% strikeout rate, looking to be victimized by Logan Webb a couple times over. And then Alec Thomas, another mix and match quality outfielder, 249, 289, 368, another target for Logan Webb. Strikeouts at 26.9% and also doesn't draw walks. On the Giants side, Elliot Ramos up top at 41.34, differently priced across sites. Guy can hit 16 home runs at 267, 339, 401 slash line, but we've dipped for quality down the second half. Still carrying overall good premium contact numbers, but he hasn't been the same hitter of late. 110 WRC plus. There are still good reasons to go there at an affordable price against Chrismont if you're taking Giants, but he's less of a priority as compared to Rafi Devers, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman at the very least. There's some interesting bats there. Devers has 31 home runs at 229 ISO, 140 WRC plus. Any concerns about a dip in quality? I think maybe it's been a bit more of a roller coaster with Devers in some stretches of this season, but overall, this is another outstanding full season in 645 plate appearances now that we're approaching the end. Adames up to 27 home runs, a 197 ISO, 108 WRC plus. Totally turned his year around after like mid-May. Dom Smith, more of a contact-oriented hitter at 292, 343, 415. He's coming through a little bit, 114 WRC plus. Good spot for him in the cleanup role. You know, he can reset the table for Chapman or line drive to drive some of those other guys in. Just not much of a homer bat. Chapman definitely hits his fair share of home runs. He's got 20 on the season, also getting on base at a 350 clip, exploiting his weird ability to steal bases from time to time with 9 on the season, a 210 ISO. Monster barrels and premium contact numbers. Love Matt Chapman, and he's only 4,000 against Nabil Chrismont. 33 on FanDuel, a little bit differently priced, but definitely still in play. Young-Hoo Lee, Casey Schmidt, Patrick Bailey, mix and match quality going down the board there. And then an interesting Drew Gilbert, 3 home runs and 64 plate appearances, a 250 ISO. We talked about him the other day. 14 home runs in the minors this year, a 204 ISO over 408 plate appearances, 262, 369, 466 slash line, a 119 WRC plus. Just a solid, mid-level type of a power bat. You were expecting a full season, 14 to 16, somewhere in that kind of a territory. I could have just said 15 probably. But a reasonable, interesting lefty bat to throw at this pitcher if he's in the lineup at all. And then the other guys, just down lineup guys, spot fillers. But you do have a 101 WRC plus for Casey Schmidt. Young-Hoo Lee is a capable line drive bat with a 109 WRC plus who can get involved. 330 xWOBA for him, 336 for Schmidt. And then Patty Bailey is not much more than a mix and match catcher. Logan Webb way up top, followed by Giants bats, followed by, I would say, Diamondbacks bats ahead of Nabil Chrismont. But if you wanted to use Chrismont at 62 on DraftKings, you could slide him up above the D-backs bats. They're really hampered by this matchup. Bo Sox with Garrett Crochet on the mound going against Luis Morales. This just stupid ballpark is going to be the deciding factor here. It works against Crochet as much as it works against Morales. There's a lot of power on the athletic side, but you can see what Garrett Crochet does to this outstanding home run hitting team's home run numbers. He's got a 2.80% home run rate this year, comes on excellent weak and medium contact numbers, a 7.5% barrel. He even keeps the ball down mostly. Strikes out 30.5% on a 13.2% swinging strike rate. This team's got plenty of strikeout in the heart of the lineup. That 24-3, remember, is bolstered by that 7.2% from Jacob Wilson. A little bit by that Langoliers number this season, although he was 27-29 each of the last 2 years. Let's leave those out for the moment. All right, I'll take the 19 from Langoliers. I'll leave out the 11 from Darryl Arnaiz, who I forgot was there. That other group, that's a 28.6. I'll leave off the 47. That's a little bit high out of Zach Geloff, although he was 34-27 the last 2 years. It's still a 25% strikeout rate. Plenty of Ks on deck for Garrett Crochet, who's more than capable of finding them. A little bit of danger showing, though, as well. Given the ballpark, given the home run bats in this lineup, there is still a problem if one or two get over the fence, even with nobody on base, you're very quickly bending those scores at those prices. Needs to come through with even more strikeout upside if he gives anything up, but capable of doing it. Luis Morales pitching to a 1.59 ERA, but nearly a 4 xFIP. This is going to be the real number over time. 27% strikeouts, but walking nearly 10%. A sub-1 whip also won't hold against that walk rate. A little bit of success via BABIP, but he's given up a lot of barrels, a lot of premium contact overall. 18.8 degree average launch means it's all up in the air. Eventually, this is going to be a 4+% home run rate, and that could get started really quickly today in this ballpark. Has been good, does have a little bit of pedigree as a prospect, but I don't totally believe in this, definitely not in that, given a lot of these numbers over here, and I think it pushes success toward the Red Sox at a 5+ implied total in this park. Yoshida up at the top of the lineup at 33.27. Interesting, despite a bad 140 plate appearances this year. He's just a better hitter than this. Last year, 280, 349, 415 with a 115 WRC plus. That's the guy I'm looking for from the left side, just as a table setter. Get things started with a line drive. Maybe gets on base. Not a big walk player, so we're looking more for success via the BABIP. 52.36 for Alex Bregman, entirely reasonable. 16 home runs, a 278, 364, 77 slash line, a 199 WRC plus. ISO rather. We definitely cooled a little bit with Bregman after the outrageous start. He suffered the long-term injury. He was out for a while. Hasn't been quite as stellar, but still an excellent right-handed bat and tons of power upside in this ballpark. Jarren Duran, 51-35, a lot of extra base hits, 14 home runs, 22 stolen bases, good for counting stats across the board. A 336 xWOBA, 110 WRC plus. Excellent left-handed bat to throw at Luis Morales. Trevor Story has been tremendous this year. 23 home runs, 27 stolen bases, a 101 WRC plus. The ISO a little bit off the mark as far as what the power output looks like. Fewer extra base hits along the way, but a 9.7% barrel, 47.5% hard hit. He's been outrageous. Nathaniel Lowe from the left side, 4,2,700, a little bit of salary relief there. 18 home runs, a 164 ISO. He's been adequate. Oddly limited at hitting for average or getting on base this year. Those used to be positive attributes for him, but he's hit for a little bit of power. Not uninteresting in the middle of the lineup. Romy Gonzalez hits the ball very squarely against everybody. 8 home runs on the season, a 186 ISO in 284 plate appearances, slashing 307, 342, 492. He's been fantastic. Carlos Narvaez has hit the ball squarely all year. So is Ceddanne Rafaela. Rafaela's slipped below the line for WRC plus. He's 12 points below, but excellent for counting stats throughout the year again. This is the kind of season he had last year. He's at worst a mix and match guy, and he fills multiple spots for cheap pricing on FanDuel. And then Narvaez, exactly at league average for WRC plus, a concerning 299 xWOBA, 12 home runs on the board. We're really just home run hunting if we go to him with a cheap catcher bat. And then Nate Eaton, just a spot filler down the bottom of the lineup if he's there. On the A's side, as mentioned, they're facing a just tremendous pitcher who's pretty likely to check them in basically every way, but they are up above a 4 total because of this ballpark. If anybody gets wood on the ball, they can definitely drive it, even against Crochet. He's not invulnerable to the home run, and there's a lot of barrel, a lot of hard hit here, and then you get to a guy like Jacob Wilson who just puts balls in play. Depending on what configuration of the lineup they come out with, if Wilson's leading off ahead of all those guys, so much the better. I think that's where he belongs. But Langelier's been tremendous all season long. 29 home runs, an excellent right-handed power bat. As mentioned, cut strikeout dramatically year over year while maintaining his premium contact. It's been outrageous this year, but that's an expensive price to attack Garrett Crochet. Brent Rooker's all the way down at 4,500 against the lefty. That's an interesting spot. 27 home runs for the big right-handed bat, 222 ISO, a 125 WRC plus. I would consider some Brent Rooker if I'm looking at anything from this A's lineup just for that cheap price for his bat. Nick Kurtz at 55 at 38 struggles a little bit here. Lefty, 29 home runs against one of the better lefties in baseball seemed concerning. Colby Thomas at 33, 25. 99 pretty meh plate appearances outside of the 5 homers, the 216 ISO fits right in with the team theme. Tons of strikeouts, not enough walk, but a lot of barrels, a lot of hard hit. Wilson, the opposite. 315, 357, 447, just an elite hit tool. A dozen situational home runs, not exactly a lot of premium contact, but just tons and tons of back control. Solid hitter. Hernandez does a lot of that as well. 11.8% strikeout against 11% walk. Doesn't hit the ball all that hard, but should be better at hitting for average, getting on base over time. 86 WRC plus, kind of limited and facing Garrett Crochet. Zach Geloff has been nothing special and striking out at a ludicrous clip since coming back. Over 76 plate appearances, be striking out nearly half of them. That's problematic. Lawrence Butler strikes out at a 28.5% rate this year, but does hit the ball squarely. Lefty is an issue for him as well, though. 19 home runs, 17 steals. We're looking to him for counting stats, but we need to chase Crochet first. And then Willie McIver, not all that much quality. 3 home runs in 87 plate appearances. You'd just be home run hunting against a guy who's less than likely to give it up. Crochet, Red Sox bats. Probably A's bats ahead of Luis Morales. No. Let me take that back. Luis Morales ahead of the A's bats, at least on DraftKings. The FanDuel price just does not work for Luis Morales today. That's a dumb price. Don't pay it. Last one up. What's up, Trav? Presumably you heard me talk through Morales there, Trev. Let me know if not. I think he is good, but so far, like the numbers in his, probably can't get him to him by typing Molates. Just the numbers in the show so far for a young pitcher who's kind of accelerated to get here. Or a little bit, I just think probably a little undercooked. He did make 8 AA starts this year, 6 AAA starts this year at age 22. The AAA one's a little bit of a bump, 4.40 ERA with a 4.85 xFIP underneath. In AA, he had a 2.98 ERA with a 3.11 xFIP, was striking out 31.7%, but walking 9%. That went down to 27.1 with a 10% walk rate when he went up to AAA, and that's like where he is in the show so far. So I think what we're looking at is a kid who does have plenty of talent and is just like in his development cycle, still a AA pitcher, and he's just been thrust into the majors. And you can see that in the xFIP. You can see that in the walk rate. You can see that definitely in all the premium contact that he's allowed. The stuff is there. The stuff works through space and time, just needs to learn how to pitch. So that's just not the right thing, even with the success over the handful of outings so far in the ERA. That's just not what I'm looking to throw into this Red Sox team in this ballpark, even with some pieces missing from the Red Sox side. I think he totally works at 8,000 as a mid-board type pitcher on DraftKings. Is in play over there at 98 on FanDuel. Really problematic price-wise. And then rounding things out, very cheap for Chase Dollander, but he's got a 6.77 ERA for the season and nearly 5 xFIP, 18% strikeouts against 11% walks, not really great. The kid is a good young pitcher. There is talent here. One of the top organizational prospects for the Rockies, but that doesn't exactly say a lot. In his 46 innings at home, he has a 9.98 ERA at Coors Field. Again, we don't totally care about just ERA, but that's a 5.76. 5.34 xFIP to go with that aggressively high ERA in Coors Field. On the road, he has a 3.64 ERA, but he does have a 4.58 xFIP to go with that. So yes, quite a bit better on the road. But the xFIP definitely at 4.5 is probably more likely your realistic number for Dollander. So the truth is somewhere, more approaching the xFIP number here and a little bit lower than, but it's not an automatic, all right, he's pitching on the road, let's go to him, and especially not against the Dodgers, and especially not at nearly a 6 implied total. It wouldn't knock me out of my chair if he had an effective day today. But I don't think we're really, really chasing it outside of maybe some just bargain basement type of options at that DK price. 6 innings against Houston at Houston, his last road start. 3 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 7, but walked 4. It's an okay day. You can get that. Fire away. Last time he faced the Dodgers was in Coors Field, 3 2/3 of 7-run ball. 9 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, and gave up a home run. Last time out, faced the Giants at Coors, 5 innings, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks on 5 hits. The road start prior to that good Houston one, faced the Cardinals for 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 5, walked 3. The walks are a bit of an issue in the road starts, but again, demonstrably better on the road. The actual talent comes through on the road. Needs to learn how to pitch at Coors Field a little bit if he's going to be at all sustainable. On the other side, Tyler Glasnow is just excellent. 29% strikeouts. Too many walks so far this year at 11.5%. It's always been a little bit of an issue, but last year in 134 innings, it was 32% strikeouts and 6.7% walks, 7.6 the year before, 7.7 the year before that in a small sample. So not nearly as glaring an issue as it is this year, but he's still missing bats. Solid CSW, 3.41 ERA, a 3.70 xFIP. There is nothing wrong with these numbers. Good at inducing weak and medium contact. That home run number is spiked a little bit by a few barrels, a few mistakes along the way in 68 and 2/3 and 14 starts. So just some happenstance home runs to drive that number up somewhat. In his recent outings, 7 good innings, not great innings against the Diamondbacks last time out, but went 7. Struck out 6, and most importantly, didn't walk anybody against a lineup that can draw walks. 3 earned runs on 4 hits. You'll take that outing for these prices. 4 innings of 3-run ball. The start before that against the Pods, he struck out 3, he walked 4. The pitch count got away from him, but only gave up 2 hits in that one. 5 innings of 2-run ball, 6 hits, 8 strikeouts, and just 1 walk against the Padres the start before that one in a home start. 5 2/3 of 8 strikeout ball against the Blue Jays. You can see the strikeout quality against those low strikeout lineups. Spiked a 12 strikeout day back on July 23rd against the Twins. You just got to fade the walks. And this Rockies team is not exactly going out there and drawing a ton of walks. 23.3% strikeout against a 6.4% walk. Ideal target for Tyler Glasnow. I have no idea why he's 8,700 on DraftKings. Take advantage. 10-3 on FanDuel. Fire away. No issues with it. Top pitcher on the board. Or second highest pitcher on the board, I believe. Yeah, behind Crochet, but right there with. If you're considering Rockies bats against, it's not a great idea. Tyler Freeman, Mickey Moniak, Hunter Goodman, Jordan Beck, Brenton Doyle, and Ezekiel Tovar, the top 6 there are your priorities. Everybody's cheap. They all have a little bit of ability to drive the ball. Maybe except for Tyler Freeman, but he hits for average at least, sets the table for the other guys, given that 362 on base. Somehow just a 94 WRC plus with that. Low strikeout, high walk throughout the season, 41.7% hard hit rate. Slots in at second base for a fair price. That's a good way to get things started, but I think we would want to focus on some of the power, try and exploit the 9% barrel rate that we've gotten, maybe see a little bit of patience out of some of the guys who have displayed a little bit more patience in other areas and on their way up. But so far, this is just a free swinging bunch of power hitters. Mickey Moniak at 34.29 is okay. 19 home runs, a 239 ISO out of him. Hunter Goodman has 29 with a 256 ISO. You want one or the other, if not both of those guys in your lineup. And then Jordan Beck, Brenton Doyle have both hit the ball squarely all year. They've come away with 15 home runs and 15 steals for Beck, 14 and 16 for Doyle. Similar kind of players, a 100 WRC plus for Beck and a 75 for Doyle, but Doyle leads in xWOBA. Doyle makes the better contact. Everybody knows me, knows I love a good Doyle. 35-31. Don't mind that in the outfield if we're choosing to attack Tyler Glasnow, but we're really not looking to do that. Ezekiel Tovar at 37.28 has plenty of power. 316, not bad plate appearances out of him, but just a 94 WRC plus, 8 home runs. He hit 26, but struck out way too much and whiffed way too much throughout last season. Has improved in that department in a small sample this year. Kyle Karros, mix and match quality, 250, 323, 330, 1.5% barrel rate over his first 100 plate appearances. Not great. Warming Bernabel, 264, 301, 434, mix and match quality out of him as well with a 293 xWOBA, and then 169 pretty bad plate appearances out of Ryan Ritter down the bottom. Underdeveloped down toward the bottom of this lineup. The quality's in the top 6, but the real quality's on the opposing mound. And then the Dodgers bringing things home. 20 in the home run model for Shohei Ohtani at 6,500 at 4,700. He is your slate leader, but not your home run pick. 48 home runs, 17 stolen bases. He is ridiculous. 169 WRC plus. Mookie Betts at 43.32. Bad season out of Mookie, but that is very cheap to find Mookie Betts, and I continue to believe in the any given slate upside that player possesses at those prices, especially against a pitcher like this. Freddie Freeman at 48.33 has 19 home runs, a stellar slash line, a 138 WRC plus, a 367 xWOBA. Still Freddie Freeman in most ways. Will Smith, one of the better hitting catchers in baseball at 49.33, 17 home runs, a 201 ISO, monster bat there. Max Muncy back in this projected version of the lineup. 4,000, 3,100 would be a tremendous pickup. Power hitting third baseman. That is a great price to find Max Muncy. 17 home runs, a 233 ISO, a 400 xWOBA. 52.6% hard hits, 13.7% barrels. Strikes out a little bit, but only 21% this year. Walks a ton at 17.3%. Could give Chase Dollander fits or just choose the first pitch and drive it over the wall. Tremendous bat. 10.17 for Teoscar Hernandez in the home run model today. He's got 21 on the season, a little bit of diminishment in the overall slash line, but still a monster power bat from the right side. 199 ISO will probably finish the season above 200. Michael Conforto has been bad all year. 10 home runs on the board, a sub-Mendoza line, 301 on base at least. 80 WRC plus. It's just been a spot filler here. Does still hit the ball squarely, just not regularly or not for quality output. Andy Pajas is a very good player at 42, 3,000, 24 homers, 13 steals, a 111 WRC plus. And then Hae-Sung Kim, cratering a little bit down to a 98 WRC plus, a 266 xWOB is entirely unappealing. Was hitting the ball well, though, 291, 323, 385. And we're just looking at him for a little bit of get on base, correlated scoring, maybe steals me a base. He's all right, but he's not a priority in a lineup that is high priority. And honestly, pretty cheap through there for the quality that you're getting. Yeah, you got Ohtani there. But, like, what do I even want to do? If you just top line it, that 5-man top line that includes Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Smith, and Muncy is $4,900 apiece. That group of hitters should never be under a $5,000 average. That's wild. Obviously, if you just left Ohtani off and went that route, you're at $4,460 for the same group minus Ohtani plus Teoscar, which is not a crazy way to build that team. Yeah, you're leaving Ohtani out against a weak righty, but that's a major stack. And you can go different directions. Like, let's say if I'm building on DK, I would probably want Will Smith. But let's say we take one of the many cheap catchers on this slate instead and just go this route and get a discount catcher so that I can still pay up a little bit more at pitcher. That's $4,780. They're doing you favors with those prices on DK. And honestly, they're not crazy expensive on FanDuel where you can only get 4 of them. Excellent looking spot for the Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow, Dodgers bats, Tyler Glasnow, any way you want to cut that. And then I would say probably Chase Dollander above the Rockies bats, but that's a problematic spot on either end of it. And that's it. That was your slate. See, I can do this in a hurry. 1 hour 20. EB, yes, I was about to get to that. Considering that it's 5:30 now, I think we can fully expect that show will be at 6. But I'm going to punch out of here in the next couple of minutes, and I'm going to just run through real quick and put the sheet together so that I can show it to you guys. We're going to build some lineups. We're going to talk through the football slate tonight. So figure 6 o'clock for that, but just keep an eye on when the schedule pops up. I'll do that momentarily. And that's your pitching board one last time. So Crochet, Glasnow, Wu, Webb, quad aces again today. Playable options in Imanaga, Lodolo, Darvish even is reasonable, and especially at price. And then you get into some kind of options. I do think Morales is in play at 8 on DraftKings, but 98 on FanDuel makes no sense to me. I think maybe you could squeeze a $6,300 Simeon Woods Richardson price if you're just desperate to chase strikeout. But there's so much quality in that Angels lineup, and he is just bad, guys. So I have no faith in that, even at those median numbers, let alone any kind of ceiling. He's just cheap with potential to find some strikeout, but it probably comes with some home runs allowed. Latz feels like a pretty hard no. Krismot, meh. Elder, loose playability on like Elder Michaelis if you're desperate in the bargain bin there. They're not all that offset from Morales against the Red Sox. It's an ugly board after you get through those top ones. It's a good thing that you've got some discounted pitching on DK today with Glasnow being so cheap. Anyway, James Outman was the home run pick of the day. Went with a little bit of a weird one. Did we get that lineup? Doesn't look like. What's going on? It's 5:30. And most of these lineups are still not confirmed. It's a 7:15 start today, but I feel like everybody's taken off a little bit. They're like, nobody cares anymore. Everybody's watching football. We can take our time with these lineups. It's going to be annoying because I'm going to have to update them during the NFL show. Anyway, you guys, come on back in about a half hour. Going to be about 6 o'clock for an NFL show. We're going to run through tonight's game. We'll build some lineups. I think that's the most important part of that show. That's the most fun part of that show, just putting things together. But we'll talk through the different players real quick like we usually do. And thank you, EB. I appreciate it. I'll see you back in just a little bit. Figure 6 o'clock for that. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you have not already for this show. Check out rotoscouts.com. Everything is under $1 a day. That includes baseball and football right now. Basketball and hockey coming right around the corner. Same $1 a day on a monthly, weekly, or quarterly plan. Gets you access to all of it. So give that a look. Give our guys over at acemind.io some love for your sim and optimization needs. Promo code rotoscouts all in caps over there. Should still get you 20% off your first month. Good luck out there tonight. Somebody go win something. Share those results when you do at rotoscouts on Twitter or in the premium Discord, which is linked below. No cost for that. Don't need to be a subscriber. Hop in, come join the community, hang out, but most importantly, share those good wins when you do, because it makes me feel good regardless of how my night's going. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Talk some football. Later.